Hey. Hey.
What what happened to the usual intro?
It's jazz time.
Nice.
That's what happens.
That's cool, bro. Just a couple of jazz cats, brother.
And I'm assuming we're not going to get any answers here, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, let's see what happens when Amakusa turns his music off. Yeah, that's right. Amakusa turned the radio off. The world of cheery sounds was immediately swallowed up by the roar of the sea, and blotted out by the ocean's gray.
見えるかい? あの辺が当時の船着き場だ。
The boat captain pointed, but I couldn't really recall how it looked 12 years ago. I'd believe that my memories of back then would come flooding back into my mind, but no memories were coming back to me at all. After the incident, the island was sealed off and left to the wild. Probably that's understandable. I had to tell myself, to stop myself from feeling somehow sad and hurt. But I at least remember one thing. You could say that it would probably be the same anywhere on the sea, but at least this one thing I do remember. The cries of the seagulls. I do remember those. I almost never went to the ocean when I was young.
I do remember those.
What, was there something weird about the way I said it?
No, it's just funny.
What does Umineko translate to? Is it sea bird or sea cat or something like that?
Sea cat.
It's amazing. I almost never went to the ocean when I was young. So, to me, everything that symbolized the ocean meant Rokenjima and my family getting together. In short, it was a symbol for the happiness of going out with my family. However, at this point in time, it even seems doubtful whether that was happiness at all. In my younger days, the trip had felt like a relaxed family vacation, but considering my parents' situation at the time, it was surely a very difficult trip to handle, with the distribution of the inheritance filling the place to the smell of flaring tempers and fuses about to blow. I can remember giggling all over the place, completely ignorant of my parents' feelings.
Oh, fuck.
Controller strikes again.
全ての始まりで全ての旅の終着駅ってわけ。
Amakusa tried too hard in an attempt to speak from my innermost feelings. The boat slowly rounded the island. As the angle changed, I hoped that my memories of the island's silhouette at the time might come back just a little. But in the end, even as the inlet was completely hidden by the cliffs, I wasn't able to remember anything.
船長、さっきのもう一つの船着き場の話を聞かせてください。
六軒島には船着き場は一つしかないことになっとる。だがそれは表向きだ。
島裏のもう一つの隠された船着き場、六軒島そのものね。誰も知らない二つ目のもう一つの顔がある。
六軒島は後宮家の領有する島だ。
That sound like it ties in with our doubles of everything.
Okay, but let's take a moment to stop and think about this. How on earth Kraus has been living on the island for ages? I need to suspend my disbelief to almost go with the fact that he never found the other mansion on the island.
That he never found Kuadorian?
Or maybe he did find Kuadorian and just didn't say anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that he found out about it and was just keeping it from the other siblings.
Huh. But if he was to not know about it, I don't know how that would be possible since he's been on that island for so long by himself.
And wasn't he saying that he was like surveying the island to do construction on it?
Yes. So I mean, he must have found it, right?
Yeah, there's no way he couldn't have. So what does that change about our suspicions here? If we now add in the factor that Kraus probably knew about Kuadorian,
Probably that Kinzo's actually fucking dead.
And do you think that implicates Kraus at all in what's going on right now?
I don't know if it implicates Kraus. I think if he knows about Kuwadorian for sure, then he probably is killing Kinzo. Although I don't know how Kinzo, unless our thought about Kinzo, I think I did mention how when Kinzo arrived, if Kinzo's already dead, then that Kinzo we saw might have been like the person posing as Beitarichi.
Right.
Or not actually real. I don't know. This whole thing is a bit. I don't know what's what anymore.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same way.
Ah!
All right. Well, let's just they always reveal stuff right after we theorize, so maybe they'll just tell us the ending right here.
だが金蔵さん個人が所有する島というもう一つの顔がある。
一つの島、二つの船着き場、愛人を囲うためだけに随分と金をかけたもんだ。
もう一つの船着き場のことを知る人間は
限られとる。金蔵さん、執事の源氏さん、
Fucking
わしら
Genji.
船の関係者。高齢の使用人がほんの数人だ。
So Genji and the boats.
南城診療所の先代
Small
先
number
生
of the
も
older servants.
熊沢のばあさんも知っとった。数えりゃ結構いるような気がするが、とにかく知っている人間はわずかだった。
そのもう一つの屋敷について教えてください。
クワドリアンちゅう名前のお屋敷があるとだけは聞かされておった。わしは船を離れることを許されんかったから一度も見たことはないが。
船着き場からは見えないくらいに遠いということですかい？
わからん。ただ隠し屋敷だからな。
Sorry, there's a little bit of a long pause there.
外からは見えん場所に建ててあったろうな。とにかくクワドリアンについては
クワドリアンにベアトリーチェが住まわされていた、あるいは幽閉されていたという説がありますが、
わしはクワドリアンへの雑貨も運んでおった。その中に女しか使わんような、それも高級なもんが含まれることも多かった。わしもその説を確信しとる。
では船長はベアトリーチェって女を直接見たことはないわけですか？
ない。20年近く出入りをしたが一度も見たことはない。
20年？ひゅー。ってことは最低でも年齢プラス20ってわけだ。こりゃマドモアゼルは期待できねえな。
だがクワドリアンへの出入りはある日を境にぷっつりとなくなっちまった。今からだいたい30年前だから昭和43年頃だったと思う。
ぷっつりと
Bang.
突然
食料やゴミなどの運搬往来でわしらは決められた日程で裏に行っとった。ああ、裏っちゅうのはクワドリアン側の船着き場のことだ。
わかります。それで
ある日源氏さんから急な連絡があった。別の指示があるまで裏には行かなくていいって言うんだ。
別の指示とは？
特にはなかった。早い話がある日突然裏には今後定期便はいらない、食料も届けなくていいと言われたわけだ。わしは最初クビにされたのかと思ったよ。だがすぐに気づいた。それにクワドリアンのことを知る使用人たちの様子からもなんとなく察しがついた。
ベアトリーチェが死んで食料を届ける必要も世話人を送る必要も。
Huh. So I'm assuming that's the Beitarichi that fell off the cliff.
Yeah. That was with young Rosa, right?
Yeah, that was Rosa who fucking suicided her.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't really her fault, I don't think, right?
No, it wasn't her fault.
It was the rock's fault.
It was the rock's fault.
So it was the cliff's fault.
それっきり
That's what I
裏
think.
へ船を出せという指示は受けてない。しかし裏については死ぬまで何も喋るな。その後源氏さんが直接わしのところへ来てえらく強く念を押した。
その20年間も放置されていた隠し屋敷にどうしてエヴァおばさんが？
On that day, 12 years ago, Ushiromiya Eva somehow escaped harm alone. I'm sorry, I just am messing this up so bad.
No, you're good. Don't worry.
On that day 12 years ago, Ushiromiya Eva somehow escaped harm alone in a hidden mansion 2 kilometers away from the regular mansion.
Although we know now that everybody actually died, so this whatever's happening now isn't actually real. It's
Right, yeah.
Probably an extended part of the chessboard.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
Why was she in a hidden mansion that had been forgotten for 20 years?
ワイドショーで見たよ。わしにも何が何だかさっぱりわからん。エヴァさんを裏へ案内したことは一度もない。どうやってクアドリアンを知りたどり着いたのか。
So
わしにはさっぱり
Kuadorian is
見当
how
もつかな
Ava
い。
escaped? That's what she said?
I think that's what's happening now with what they're saying.
裏のクアドリアンに陸路で行くことは不可能だったのかしら？
もしも話通りに未開の密林だとしたら、おめかしした奥様風情に踏破できるもんじゃありませんぜ。
じゃあ回路？モーターボートみたいなものがあったとか？
まさかあの二晩の台風はそりゃ船なんぞ使えるわけもない。
じゃあ屋敷とクアドリアンを直通する
That's funny.
例えば地下通路
Interesting.
のようなものがあったとか？
Yeah, I wonder.
愛人の家へ出入りするのに毎回船の用立てが必要なんて
And what if
面倒
just
でし
say
ょ？
we had goats under there recounting their history with their little sister back at home. And their
And they were
playful
chasing
days.
the rest of the Ushiromiya family through the
Yes.
tunnels. It's kind of horrifying.
全長 2km の六軒島の対角線上に存在する屋敷をつなぐためにそんだけの長い地下トンネルをとバカにしてえところだが愛人のために隠し屋敷まで作っちまう大富豪。
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If he can make Kuadorian, he can make a freaking tunnel, you know?
それも否定できんところですな。どうなんですか船長？
わしは海の人間だ。穴のことはわからん。だが硫黄島で旧日本軍は25キロのトンネルを掘ってみせたぞ。あの金
Military.
蔵さんなら2キロくらい掘ってみせてもわしは何も驚かん。
Iwo Jima?
Yeah, it was a famous battle in World War II.
Where was that?
On the island of Iwo Jima. I'm not sure where it is in relation to the mainland, though.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's a famous battle.
Hmm.
I forget what year, too. I think it's 1944.
Gotcha.
But in any case.
やっぱりおかしな島ね。私たちはこの島のことを未だ誰一人何も。
The boat reached the shore. There would be a short walk to reach the mansion.
わしはここで待っている。屋敷は向こうだ。当時の道が残っているだろうが草木で覆われてしまってるはずだ。迷わんように気をつけてな。
ほんじゃ行きましょうかね。
ありがとう天草。あんたもここで待ってて。
まそう言い出すんじゃないかと思ってましたぜ。
届け物をするだけよ。あなたが一緒だと向こうが迷惑するの。あんたの毒素強そうだから。
毒素はて
すぐに戻るわ。今日の本命はクアドリアンの方だもん。届け物をしたらすぐに戻ってくるわ。
Angie put on her knapsack and grabbed the flowers she was planning to offer.
察してやれ若いの。行ってこいお嬢ちゃん。
And we have to
あん
think
たの
about
家族が
fucking
待っている。
curious fucking sister coming after.
Oh, you know what? That is a really good thing that you mentioned that, because I completely forgot about her.
Yeah, I just remembered that she was like right behind them.
So, huh. I bet it's kind of done like this on purpose, because it's been so long since we've seen... What's her name? Sumadera?
Sumadera-san, yeah.
Yeah. It's been so long, so we forget about her, so she's gonna pop up and surprise everyone.
Damn. Fuck.
Now we know. We're braced for it. I had never been on a road like this, but I had no trouble finding my way. If I walked straight ahead, it would probably guide me to the final destination for everything. The vegetation certainly was incredible, and you would lose track of the path if you were careless enough to let your attention drift. But the road that was left was much better than I had imagined. Still, that didn't change the fact that it was a bad road. Contrary to the distance shown on the map, I was forced to walk a long way. The forest was deep and dark. At the time, I had been threatened into staying away from the forest because a witch lived there. Of course, that fear is gone now, but I feel it. Other people may not be able to, but I can feel the presence like an aura of the Golden Witch bathed beach. Massive, oddly shaped rocks scattered here and there, overgrown trees and ivy. The voices of birds and bugs. Yeah, I can feel it. I can feel that the witch is here. Ahead, an ivy-covered construction site fence and warning sign stood. No entry, Tokyo Metropolis. That was written on it.
Oh, right.
Oh, right. When you think Tokyo, you tend to think of a city, but address-wise, even Rokenjima is a rightful part of Tokyo Metropolis. Apologizing to the sign for my mistaken impression, I climbed over the fence. Sorry, sign-kun. Komenasai, sign-kun. When I made it up the steep slope beyond that, my field of vision rapidly expanded, and a fresh sea breeze blew through my hair. It was like the top of a little hill. Below me was a vast view of the island. I could only see desolated forest and rocky crags spread out below me. But somehow I realized that the mansion was probably somewhere around there. The steep downward slope beyond this hill had probably been caused by landslides from 12 years of wind and rain. It had become a slant filled with crags that you might even call gentle cliffs. And though it would be easy to tumble down, it looked like climbing back would be pretty difficult. It seemed that proceeding any further would be impossible. If I continued any further, I wouldn't be able to return. In other words, this is the border between 1986 and 1998. That day and today. And this world and the other.
ここがこの旅の終着点みたいね。
As the strong wind blew Mammon and Sakataro's hair, they looked down from the hilltop.
ここからじゃさっぱりわからないわ。お屋敷はどこ？もっと近づきましょうよ。無理だよ。戻ってこれなくなっちゃうよ。
We won't be able to come back. Huh. He's right. This is 1998, and I am the Ushiromiya Angie who has been left all alone. At first, it was a journey to die, but not anymore. It has become a journey to accomplish something.
うん。だからごめんね、二人とも。あの日の私なら何も戸惑わずにこの崖を降りるだろうけれど。
ビルの屋上から飛び降りた後ろ宮エンジェが情けない。
That's a good point.
ごめんね。
ここでも同じだよ。あの日の風が感じられるから。こんな風だったっけ？うん。もうすぐ来てくれるよ。みんな。
What? What? What?
Pardon?
They're all coming?
Sagtaro said it as though it was completely natural. And I believed it. Mom, Dad, Oni-chan, all of my relatives and those fun servants,
What, are you gonna summon all of them?
and Maria One-chan.
私よエンジェよ私は帰ってきたわ
When I started my final journey to expose the past of 12 years ago, its goal had been abstract, and I hadn't understood. But now, I have no doubts. This journey was induced by all kinds of thoughts and fates over 12 years. A journey to end things, for me, Ushiromiya Angie. And a journey to end things as the final witch of Mariage Social. I came here as the final daughter of the Ushiromiya family, and as the final witch.
お父さんお母さんお兄ちゃんごめんね先にマリアお姉ちゃんとの挨拶をさせてね
A strong gust of wind from behind urged me on. That gust took just my soul out from underside my body. Whoa, sorry, what? That gust took just my soul out from inside my body to the vast forest beneath me. And though I couldn't see it from where I stood, I believed that it would fly me to the mansion on that day,
Bye, Angie Soul.
where everyone was. What?
I said bye, Angie Soul.
Yeah. I guess she's... This is all metaphorical, right? I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, even though my body was on the top of the hill, a strong wind blowing against me, my soul was now certainly dancing through that sky. That's pretty dumb, Angie. The vast, vast sky of Rikenjima.
That's pretty dumb. Oh my gosh.
Right? Like,
What are you
oh,
saying?
my soul is flying out of me into the wind, dude. Anyway. The vast, vast sky of Rikenjima. Below me was the green of many trees. But I can tell. I can comprehend the presences of my family and relatives, and all the servants, and Maria One-chan too. I could even comprehend Maria One-chan as a witch. It was vast, more vast than any space I had imagined up until now.
マリアお姉ちゃん聞こえる聞いて
Angie shouted to the Maria of that day that she had been through a long journey, and that she had learned just how much she had wounded Maria on that day when she was young. Having understood magic, I now understand everything about the world Maria wanted to show me. It is so warm and overflowing with kindness and happiness. She had wanted to become even happier by sharing that world, but I had trampled it.
だから私今こそ全部理解したの魔法を理解した
Well,
私
fuck
た
me
ちの魔法は
sideways
き
and
っ
call me Sally.
ととてもささやかで身近に溢れてる
You understand everything.
She solved Umineko, guys. Angie solved Umineko, everyone. There it is.
でもそれは誰の目にも見えるものではないのよ魔法とは
Is?
はっきり言えるわ
What?
Magic is love.
Yo!
It's your boy. It's your boy. You heard it here first, folks. Oh, that was perfect timing. I didn't even know that was gonna happen.
Good. That was so good. That was so good.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Magic is. What if magic is somebody's love for somebody else?
That's what it sounds like it is to me.
Yes. Yes.
But I don't think it has to be romantic love. I think it can be familial, or like, you know, like love, like friend, like you would love a brother or a friend, you know?
What could Battler not see? Last chapter.
His sin from 6 years ago?
Without love, it cannot be seen.
Is this all about trying to get Battler to love his father again?
No, because Beato said it wasn't about. She didn't care about his familial matters, so she said his sin wasn't about that. And he kept asking if it was like a personal thing.
And she said it wasn't, but he was insistent that it was.
She said it wasn't a personal thing between Battler and Beato. And then when she said that, nobody nobody was talking for that. It just appeared on screen, and we didn't hear anybody say that. It just said the text showed up in red saying, "This matter is not between Battler and Beato." It didn't say Battler and me. She didn't say any. It just popped up on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Without love, it cannot be seen.
Alright. Let's see if she expands on this. Without love, it cannot be seen. I'm sorry, One-chan. I've already been excommunicated from the the Witches' Alliance, but... After all this time, I now understand how wonderful it is. And I know that after that day I wounded you, the Catholic Church was transfigured into something different from what you truly desire. Anyway, sorry. Back in those days, even magic that allowed you to vent your anger by cursing people was probably important to you. Your environment was unhappy enough for you to be allowed that.
でも、もうそんな悲しい日々は終わったよ。だからお姉ちゃんの魔女同盟を元の優しいマリアージュ・ソルシエルに。
The grimoire was in my hands without me realizing it. The strong winds were rapidly blowing its pages one after another. It had been a kind world at first. What to do to create magic so that candy rains from the sky. What to do to create magic so that tomorrow's dinner becomes cream croquets. What to do to create magic so that tomorrow's weather is good when you go out and you have a fun day. New magics of happiness were created one after another, coloring her world with kindness. Those days were flipped through one after another, and the days and months began to flash by like memories. The pages with drawings that were colorful gradually changed into pages colored only with black ink. Eerie magic circles and demon summonings. Evil magic for harming people. What to do to create magic so that the class bully catches a cold. Right, so remember, Maria was bullied, right?
Yeah.
Like,
so was Angie.
Real bad. Yeah, so was Angie. What to do to create magic so that you know who in class gets seriously injured and dies.
All of my classmates.
What to do to create magic so that a bus with all the bullies on it falls off a cliff.
Hey, that's awfully particular.
Yeah, that's... Wow. Think that's something that actually happened?
No, I don't know.
Malicious magics were created one after another, filling the pages in her heart.
私がお姉ちゃんを傷つけたからマリアージュ・ソルシエルはこんなになってしまった。
Really though?
お姉ちゃんは黒き邪悪な魔女じゃない。白き無垢で無邪気な優しい魔女だったのよ。私が元に戻してあげる。元のみんなを幸せにする魔法を世界中に振りまいていたマリアお姉ちゃんに戻してあげる。そのために私はここへ来た。運命に導かれてきた。お姉ちゃん、聞こえてる？その姿を私の前に見せて。
That voice rode an even stronger wind and was sent 12 years into the past. Then, the wind gradually ceased, and silence fell.
Oh no, what bullshit are we about to get here?
Crunch, crunch. I could hear the sound of gravel being stepped on. I heard those footsteps and was surprised at that miracle. Without a doubt, those footsteps were Maria One-chan's.
マリアお姉ちゃん
Nope. Of course. Oh.
Yay!
This motherfucker. Oh man. Ohayou gozaimasu.
ようやく見つけたわよ。エンジェちゃん。
Run!
Before I knew it, Aunt Kasumi and her black suits, a total of 7 people who didn't resemble Maria One-chan in the slightest, were standing there, surrounding me. And I felt like my voice had just been about to reach Maria One-chan too. Because of these guys' toxin, the magic got interrupted. Angie clicked her tongue at that, but Kasumi probably didn't hear it that way.
そのお花は亡くなった家族への？偉いわ。それ投げるんでしょ？いいわよ。それまで待ってあげる。
Before what? Angie could more or less guess. The way the black suits had their hands unnaturally stuck into their pockets made me realize that they were obviously in possession of handguns. This is a deserted island. There could be no more convenient place to dispose of someone.
Oh god.
I have absolutely no interest in the family matters of the Sumidera family. But if I die, all of that wealth will roll right into the Sumidera family coffers. Unlike me, they probably have a great deal of interest in it. Of course, the Ushiromiya group has a stake in this too. It seems that if the massive amounts of stock I own suddenly go to the Sumideras, it'll be pretty bad for the Ushiromiya group as well. So they've apparently gotten themselves embroiled in a secret feud over me. That's probably why President Okonogi gave me Amakusa as a guard.
Where is that guy anyway? Oh.
He got... Didn't he just stay in the,
Yeah.
hotel?
Or
Whatever building that was?
or what the text says.
Oh yeah, maybe. Having Amakusa wait on the boat was a regretful mistake.
おばさん、いつからここで待ち伏せを？
早朝からよ。
What the fuck?
Oh, they were already there.
おかげですっかり待ちくたびれちゃったわ。何しろ喫茶店もお化粧室もないからね。
トイレもないから、お上品な木陰で用を済ませていたわけね。
Oh, that's beautiful.
仮にもスマデラ家の血を半分引いてる淑女がそんな汚らわしい言葉を使うんじゃないわ。やっぱりスマデラキリエの子ね。気品のかけらもありゃしない。
She grabbed me by the hair and forced my face up to hers. That's kind of hot. And then, then spat in it. My words are filthy, but her spit's not to be outdone.
おばさんが私のことを話すと、いつも母さんのことばかり。私、そんなにも母さんに似てますか？
ええ、似ているわ。その生意気そうな目つき、鼻も口もそっくりよ。自由奔放で無責任。歴史と伝統あるスマデラ家の重みなど何も考えず、自分勝手に家を飛び出したわ。
At least she wasn't a fucking bitch like you, whore.
おかげで私の人生はずっとその尻拭い。
まさにあんたの人生、クソまみれね。
Yo!
Nice. I was slapped on the cheek, my ear took a heavy hit, and for an instant my head rang. She pulled me around by the hair and threw me onto the ground. And without a moment's pause, she kicked the ground, covering me in sand.
ああ、本当に姉さんに似てきたわ。その目つき、そのどこか小馬鹿にした目つきよ。はあ、思い出すわ、いろいろと。
哀れな人ね。きっと幼い頃から何かにつけて母さんに比較されて蔑まされてきたんでしょうに。そしてあんたは一生その惨めさから解放されやしないわ。
お前みたいな小娘にはわからないわよ。あんたのお母さんはね、何もかもを投げ出してスマデラ家を逃げ出した負け犬なのよ。 その負け犬のせいで私がどれほど迷惑したことか。
Nice job hiding your insecurities, lady.
あんたの迷惑なんか私の知ったこっちゃないわ。私の生まれる前の話をされても困るわよ。あんたの人生はいつ始まるの？始まりゃしないわ。いつまでも永久に死んだ母さんに嘲笑われ続け、そのまま死ぬのよ。
Oh. Damn.
というか死ねば。なんで生きてるの？
この口の減らないガキが。あんたたちちょいとお茶をしてやりなさいな。
お任せを。口の利き方も知らねえクソガキが少し勉強させてやるぜ。
Yeah, let's shoot you out.
The black suits dashed up to me, violently grabbed me by the collar, and dragged me down.
私が一服終えるまでに適当に可愛いメイにちょいと身の程を教えてあげなさい。
Sumadera Kasumi. She was a pitiable person, to think of it. To the outside world, the women of the Sumadera family were trained to be in a position to support and defer to the men in the prominent positions. But in actuality, strong leadership was demanded of them so that they could manage all of the people under them. The role demanded of them was that of a female commander. Taking charge of the Sumadera family with all its proud history required an extraordinary level of commanding presence. It was an unimaginably heavy responsibility. Normally, this would have been demanded of Kirie. Kirie had undergone that harsh training, and Kasumi, as the younger sister, should have been able to just take it easy. No, in fact, she had lived like a lazy, selfish, and affluent princess, sneering at Kirie, who had been given the heavy responsibility. However, Kirie was suddenly disinherited. She had refused the fiancé her parents had arranged and had gotten pregnant by her lover, Ushiromiya Rudolph. From the Sumadera family's perspective, even though the Ushiromiya family held a vast fortune, it was a family which had already collapsed, a family not in their league. And to become not even a legal wife, but a lover to the second son of that family. Normally, no one would be shown mercy for something so dishonorable, not even a daughter of the main family. They would wrap her up in a mat, stand a pole on end, and throw her either into the Pacific Ocean if the pole fell to the right, or the Sea of Japan if it fell to the left. But Kirie's punishment was nothing but disinheritance, an unbelievably lenient decision. After that, the Sumadera family began receiving preferential treatment from a section of the Ushiromiya group. There must have been some kind of backroom deal. In other words, Kirie took advantage of the Ushiromiya family's financial support to leave the Sumadera family openly. Kasumi watched it happen in shock. No, she even disparaged her dishonorable sister as a loser. But eventually, she learned that the heavy responsibilities Kirie had borne would be passed on to her. And then, for the first time, she realized that she had been outwitted.
あんたの母親のせいで私の人生はめちゃめちゃにされたわ。いいえ、一度殺されたと言ってもいい。あの日に私は一度殺されて地獄のような日々に突き落とされたのよ。
それまで人生舐めてきたツケじゃない。
口の減らねえ小娘だぜ。うら！
The black suit punched me in the gut, and I doubled over. But I was quickly grabbed by the collar and made to stand up again. As she continued to cold-heartedly look down upon Angie, Kasumi blew out smoke. The hard days after Kirie left were floating through her mind. Until then, she'd been allowed to simply be a rich young lady, unrestrained and unaffected. Only Kirie, the older sister, had been strictly trained, and she, the younger sister, had been able to live as nothing more than a princess. Then suddenly everything was turned over to such a degree that her life tumbled and crashed.
私の人生、生活も生き方も何もかもを奪われたわ。事情を知らない親類からは姉さんの不名誉を理由に どれだけ蔑まれたことか。呪ったわ。あなたのお母さんを血を吐くほどに呪ったわよ。
そりゃ嬉しいわ。これからもよろしく。
A kick landed in Angie's side as she lay prostrate on the ground. Angie didn't stand up again, so she continued to lie there like a caterpillar getting kicked every time she spoke up. I saw Nei-san at an Ushiromiya group party once.
姉さんを後ろ宮グループのパーティーで見かけたわ。
My bad, guys. I got really into it.
Is that you, Kazumi?
旦那と一緒で。
I mean, our voices basically sound the same, right?
Oh yeah.
Fuck.
私に全部を押し付けて自分だけ幸せに。
だから何？私に八つ当たりするとどうあんたが幸せになるってわけ？私に八つ当たりすると時間が巻き戻って歴史が変わったりしてくれるわけ？
あんたさっき言ったわね。私の人生はいつ始まるのって。いくら恨んでも八つ当たりしても時間を巻き戻すことなんてできない。じゃあ私は死ぬまでこうして死んでもなお姉さんを恨み続けて？冗談じゃないわ。いつまで私は姉さんの亡霊に苛まれてなきゃならないのよ。
Yes, let your anger flow through you.
Feel your anger.
だから考え
That
た
is
の
the
よ。
dark side.
これを成し遂げたら全ての恨みを忘れてやり直せるってね。
Angie was about to respond to this with another bitter comment, but stopped. Because she would be kicked again if she responded. Even if Kasumi didn't say any more, it wasn't difficult to imagine what she meant. Kasumi was thinking of bringing an end to her hatred of Kirie by taking revenge against her daughter, Angie. That's pretty messed up.
Yeah, it is.
You know? Talk about pushing your problems on other people. Yeah, it's a bit of an understatement.
ほら立ちなさいよ。
Hora.
そんなにこの島が大好きなら
Ho.
しっかり深く埋めてあげるわよ。
Oh, I want to be buried deep.
この若さで死にたくないでしょ。
Oh my lord. Oh my god. Alright. People watching have to clip that and make that a soundbite.
Oh no.
Clip that, make it a soundbite, and put it in the Discord.
Please no, I'm sorry.
You don't want to die at your age, right, John?
母が迷惑をかけてすみませんでしたとか言ってみたくはならない？
誰が
Bitch.
言うもんか。
Oh, wish. It rhymes though.
Yeah, it's more like close rhyme.
Yeah.
Who do you?
エンジ様ダメ。こいつらを挑発しちゃダメです。ここは表向きだけでも調子を合わせて時間を稼ぐべきです。
くだらないプライドは燃えないゴミの火に出しとけってよく言うわね。
天草さんが来てくれればきっと。
I don't think he can take down 7 armed guards.
ダメ。あいつの姿は見えないわ。
Hey, you don't know
エン
him.
ジ様のバカ。
He's a crazy
どう
ninja
して天
master.
草を置いてきたんです？
Well, I mean, if he used to work for Blackwater, then pretty much all he's good at is just killing unarmed civilians. So
Yeah.
anyway, I don't need you to tell me that, Mammon. I'm already right in the middle of regretting it. I walked a long way to get here. The forest was very thick. There's no way that the disturbance here will reach the boat.
Super thick.
Just incredibly, amazingly thick. As Kasumi took her sweet time smoking that single cigarette down to the filter, I was continuously laid into by the black suits however they deemed fit. Oh, that really doesn't sound good. The moment I grabbed my head to protect it, the top of my head was kicked by someone at a bad angle and my head filled with stars. This feeling of stars flickering in a world twisted with gray was one I knew well. My life was very similar to the one Sumadera Kasumi led, because I was tormented constantly with all kinds of bullying under the guise of education and training to make me a worthy successor of the Ushiromiya family. Yes. Having the inside of my head filled with stars like this is a feeling I know well. When being reprimanded for some error in manners I seem to have made, the lecturer always turned to whether I was fitting to be the successor to the Ushiromiya family or not. On and on about the honor of the Ushiromiya family and how important it was. By the time her rant reached that point, I would forget what mistake I was being blamed for in the first place. No, actually, it was the same way for Aunt Ava, too. After all, sometimes she would ask herself, what was I saying again? Wait a minute. So Ava's showing signs of, you know, a split personality or like a double also?
Well, yeah, because she had the other side of her, remember? The child version of her that went all nutso?
Right. Did that... I guess that came back with her. Or that ended up being the majority of her personality?
Probably.
Because she's still one person, right? Like, that's just kind of a...
She's one person, but it's like her other side.
Yeah. Interesting. But in the end, she wouldn't be able to remember and would say something
私
like...
が怒っているということはきっとエンジェが何か悪いことをしたのだろう。ならその悪いことが問題なのであって何をしたかなんて今さら思い出せなくても問題ない。
That's great reasoning. There'd be some ridiculous reasoning, oh yeah, like that, and then she would continue punishing me. Yes. Aunt Ava's punishments weren't something that would continue until I learned something, or acknowledged my mistake, or even apologized. They would continue until Aunt Ava wanted to stop. So even this violence was a bit nostalgic in a way that made me want to vomit. I opened my eyes, and oh look, there's Aunt Ava. Right next to Kasumi, who was smoking her cigarette. I could see Aunt Ava, the two of them looking almost as though they were laughing at me together. What? When I think about it, even Aunt Ava's life might be worthy of sympathy. The responsibilities and pressures of members of the Ushiromiya family, which she had so often mentioned to me, were all things that she herself had suffered. Because people cannot voice insults that they have never been subjected to themselves. It was probably the same way for Aunt Rosa as well. As the youngest child of the glorious Ushiromiya family, she must have gone through many tough times. So just as Aunt Ava acted towards me, just as Sumadera Kasumi is acting right now, Aunt Rosa must also have been the same. People push the suffering they have been made to bear onto other people. Otherwise, they can never escape from it. So on and on, in eternity and perpetuity, the chain of suffering and sadness never ends.
Chain of suffering and sadness never ends.
Yeah, I think we've experienced a little bit of that.
Yeah.
In the 80 hours that we've put into this.
Just a little.
That is the reason Maria One-chan's tragic magic... What? Where did I get tragic from? Maria One-chan's magic was so incredible. Sugoi. With her magic, she did not have to bear the suffering from Aunt Rosa. That pain was probably pushed onto her. Its weight probably tormented her. But One-chan did not carry that burden on her own shoulders. She exercised it and filled her world with happiness. So, I'm sure, that even if Maria One-chan had had children in the future, she would never have pushed the suffering force down through the generations onto them. The chain of suffering and sadness, which had been inherited by and forced upon each generation for who knows how long, was, by Maria One-chan's magic, broken.
なーに？私に何か文句でもあるの？
In the past, I would have snapped back and cancelled out her hatred with hatred of my own. No, I cancelled out nothing. The weight of that which had been forced onto her bears down hard on my shoulders as well. After all, even now, I hate her. So, now that I knew of magic, I looked at the human called Ushiromiya Eva again. What I could see through to was the sad form of a human, no different from me, who had lost her family and who bore deep wounds in her heart. Unable to withstand the pain of that torn heart, she was doing nothing except howling with a sad voice, like a lion crying in pain, like a child. It turns out, Ushiromiya Eva was also a person deserving of compassion. She had needed someone to understand the difficulties and pain of her childhood days, and she too, as the only survivor of the Rekenjima incident, who was faced with the inquisitive eyes of all of society, who was publicly slandered, who had salt continually rubbed into her wounds, had needed someone's compassion. In order to let her forget her pain and sorrow for at least a moment, the Black Witch, the very same that possessed Aunt Rosa, taught her magic. It was the same magic of anger and sadness that Beatrice had taught Maria Onechan when she was mourning for Sakataro after he was torn apart. That same magic, that witch, had surely dwelled inside Aunt Rosa too. So I was wrong to hate Ushiromiya Eva. Perhaps. Perhaps I alone was supposed to have become her ally. The only person in the world who could understand her. What did I say to her when I was young, when she returned alive all alone? Could it be that the way I acted towards her was as if she had come back by herself after killing all my family? I can't believe it. Aunt Eva, who throughout my life has never been more than an object of and synonym for hatred, is turning into a human who I can understand. And so, I looked right next to Aunt Eva at the form of the Black Witch who taught her the black magic. Aunt Eva was crying. It was only natural. Not only did she have no one who would understand her pain of having lost her husband and son all at once, but even I, her only relative, insulted her, saying, "Give me back my mom and dad." I can make the excuse that it was the mercilessness of youth, but to her at the time, that was probably cruel enough to sever her heart's last thread. In the following days, the talk shows and magazines publicly slandered her. The truths of her late husband's business and the character, even those about her beloved son, were denied. She no longer had anything left. She could do nothing but cry and howl, trying to forget the pain and sadness for just a few moments. Because only while howling could she feel the slightest bit of release. And so, the Black Witch taught her how to howl. The one I hated was the Black Witch. The black magic probably did release her from that suffering for just a short time. However, it would never lift that weight from her shoulders. To the contrary, it would force that weight on further victims, filling the world with the weight of hatred. If Aunt Eva was to have a true witch nearby, one who knew of white magic, wasn't that supposed to be me? I had learned the magic to create happiness from Maria Onechan. If I could have saved her with that magic, might we not have built up a future with a completely different relationship? All this time, I've hated Aunt Eva, so I never noticed the Black Witch beside her. Without love, it couldn't be seen. I didn't have any love for her. So now, finally, I'll glare at the Black Witch, the one I truly should hate.
あら？何？私のことが見えるの？
見えるわ。私が憎むべきは エヴァおばさんじゃなかった。あんたよ。
It was you.
すごいじゃない。人間の分際で魔女の私が見えるなんてね。それでその目つきは何だと言いたいわけ？私が憎い？
憎い？ええ、憎いわ。でも少し違う。ただ悲しく思える。
悲しい？何言ってんの？いいじゃない、怒れば。思いっきり憎んじゃえば？
憎まないわ。あんたを憎むことはエヴァおばさんの憎しみをそのまま受け継ぐだけ。私は憎しみを断ち切る。エヴァおばさんの苦しみを受け止め、それを払って捨てるの。
何悟ったようなこと言ってるわけ？こいつ頭大丈夫？っていうかへそでも噛んで死んじゃえば？あんたらもっともっと蹴ってやりなさい。顔とかはダメよ。気の毒な顔がマシになっちゃったらつまんないから。
The black suits persistently kicked my stomach and back, as though they had been ordered to by the Black Witch.
やれやれ、答えないね。私をじーっと見ちゃって、私が憎いでしょ。私もよ。
Kasumi sneered at me, but for some reason I had the feeling that she was crying behind that expression. She's had a life just as unfair as mine forced upon her, and the pain of that never, ever heals.
Damn, finally somebody in this family understands.
Yeah,
Finally,
seriously.
somebody understands that fucking hating and fucking torturing people because you're suffering isn't the way to go.
You can't persist in the ways that it's always been done or the way that it was done to you if you ever want to change something.
Mm-hmm.
The sad lion continues to howl, gasping in pain from the thorn he can't get out. More mention of a lion. We got Sakataro. We got the ones in front of the church.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know what the lions are all about, but I'm sure we'll find out.
ほら、スマデラかすみ、見てごらんなさい。かつてのあんたがそこにいるわ。気分が晴れるでしょう。かつてそこにいたあなたが今度はこっち側にいるのよ。愉快でしょう。立場が逆になるのは。
本当に愉快。なんでそんな顔ができるのよ。エンジェ、泣きなさいよ。泣きたいんでしょ。
そうそう、泣きたいに決まってる。泣かせちゃいなさいって。あの時のあんたは泣かされちゃったじゃない。だからこいつも泣かせてやりなさいよ。エンジェもいいのよ。泣いちゃえば。
泣きなさいよ、エンジェ。あんたの泣き顔が見たいのよ。泣いてごめんなさい、かすみおばさんって言って。
その言葉を言わせるのよ。あの言葉辛いでしょ。自分のせいじゃないことを謝らせられるのって本当に辛かったでしょ。同じ思いをさせてやるのよ。そうすることであなたの痛みは和らげることができるの。もっと自分に素直になりなさい。もっともっといっぱいに自分の感情を吐き出しちゃえば。
The Black Witch stirred Kasumi up, and Kasumi began to give herself over to that dark emotion. She was doing nothing more than turning her deep sadness into cheap booze and forcing it down, trying to forget for just a brief moment. The words Kasumi insulted me with were themselves sad.
This is just fucking deep and sad.
Yeah, and it's been going on for so long too. I feel like we need an intermission.
Yeah. Please.
And I couldn't forgive the Black Witch for taking advantage of Kasumi's sadness. I had gone limp on the ground, which seemed to have sapped the black suits of their enthusiasm for kicking. Or maybe the kickers had finally gotten tired, too. Kasumi hadn't ordered them to stop, but at some point the violence had halted. However, I was reflected in Kasumi's eyes, and they were burning me with flames of hatred. She had been tempted by the witch into doing that in order to relieve her own pain.
スマデラかすみ、まだよ。まだまだ踏みにじりなさい。あなたの人生はこんなほんのちょっとの乱暴で許
せないわよ。まだこれくらいでは許せないんだから。
Doesn't this exactly mirror Maria and Rosa?
Rosa? Yep. Yep.
でしょ。許せるわけがない。もっとよ。もっと憎悪の炎を。憎しみの炎でしかあなたは暖を取れないの。怒りと悲しみの雪原で凍えるあなたを温められる炎は憎しみだけなのよ。
Listen, man. Any person who can talk completely normally when they're sticking their tongue out like she was, you can't trust that person at all.
No, you can't.
No way.
ほら言って。叫んで。憎しみの方向で自分を燃やし尽くしちゃえば。
後ろ宮エンジェー。あんたを憎まなくちゃ私は生きてられないの。
スマデラかすみ、あの花束を。これ死んだ家族への花でしょ、エンジェ。
The Black Witch grinned at me unpleasantly and used her chin to signal Kasumi to pick them up.
Oh no. What now?
Kasumi picked up the flowers I was going to offer, brought them all the way over to me, dropped them in front of me, and made a show of trampling them. Her expression was filled with hatred, and a frantic quality that simple hatred couldn't explain. It was as if trampling them over and over again was the only way to prevent the sadness inside her from reaching that bursting point. So the sound of her trampling was downright sad.
あら、この程度じゃ答えない？ならこっちは答えるかしら。スマデラかすみ、こっちを使いなさい。ダメ、それは。
The object the Black Witch pointed at was Maria One-chan's grimoire. Kasumi also noticed it and picked up that book, which was heavier than it looked.
なにこれ。
読んじゃえば。お腹がよじれちゃうかもね。
Kasumi opened the grimoire, skimmed over the contents, and snorted derisively. Derisively?
返して。それは
Oh no.
お姉ちゃんの。
Oh no.
What's gonna happen here?
Please tell me she's not gonna rip it apart.
Oh no. Of course, my hand couldn't reach.
Cause this is if this mirrors Rosa and Maria and how Rosa ripped apart Sakataro, fucking
That's true,
Kazumi's gonna
yeah.
rip apart the diary. I know it.
Oh
Fuck.
man. My stomach was once again kicked by the black suits and I curled up on the ground.
ほらね、この本はエンジェにとっての大切なものでしょ。大切なものをけなしてやりなさい。こういう子には殴る蹴るよりもそっちの方が効くんだから。あなたがそれを一番よく知っているでしょ。
Kasumi's face twisted for an instant as though remembering something painful. But that quickly disappeared, changing into a scornful smile directed towards me.
なにこの気持ち悪い本。あんたが書いたの？
やめて。返して。
Yep, rip Grimoire.
見てよあの顔。もっとけなしてやりなさい。貶としめてやりなさい。尊厳を踏みにじられる苦痛を教えてやるのよ。そうすることでしかあなたの苦痛は和らがないの。何これ恥ずかしい本。少女の時代に多少は占いの真似事に興味を持つこともあるけれど、これはちょっと行き過ぎじゃない？やだ、魔法だって。あんたあれでしょ、アニメとかのなんとかなんとかって呪文を言いながら魔女に変身するやつ。
That's a great episode title. Blabbity blibbity woo.
ああいうの好きなんでしょ。痛々しいわ。
Cackling, Kasumi opened to a random page and showed it to the black suits. The black suits looked too and guffawed. That laughter wouldn't wound me, but I couldn't forgive it. After all, that laughter was ridiculing Maria Onechan. I don't hate Kasumi. For exploiting Kasumi's unhealing anger and sadness, I cannot forgive the Black Witch. That Black Witch ate into Aunt Ava, Sumidera Kasumi, and Aunt Rosa, tormenting them for an eternity without letting their wounds be healed. I can't forgive her. I can't forgive the Black Witch.
何これ、傑作。お空から飴玉を降らせる魔法ですって。何々、お日様で清めたお水にお砂糖を溶いて魔法の杖を浸して呪文を。何これ。
Why do you find this funny?
痛い。
Bro, you just posted cringe. The black suits also rolled around, guffawing.
Why are the
Then-
black suits rolling on the ground?
Yeah, shouldn't they be like standing guard? What a bunch of asshats.
They're just rolling on the ground.
You know how much they're getting paid and they're just rolling around on the ground? Then, grinning, the Black Witch whispered something into Kasumi's ear. Then, after glaring at me with a grin, Kasumi took the page.
And ripped it.
Kasumi grabbed hold of that page, tore it out, crumpled it up, and threw it away.
ひどいよ。それはマリアの魔法。あら、そうなの？それはお気の毒。
It was one of the magics to summon happiness that Maria had made with Sakataro. Anyone who knows that making sugar water, coloring it with paint, and leaving it by the window isn't going to make candy rain from the sky. But after repeating that every day, one time when she got back from school, she found several pieces of candy scattered around that place. How happy that miracle must have made Maria Onechan. What good care she must have taken to those candies, savoring them during her nights all alone with Sakataro to distract herself from her loneliness. That magic which Onechan had created was torn out, thrown away, and disappeared. The entire miracle of happiness created by that magic, she tore out and threw away.
これも傑作だわ。晩ご飯をクリームコロッケにする魔法。次は何？ピーマンが美味しく食べられる魔法。これも生かすわ。バカバカしい。それも破いちゃえば。どんどん破いちゃえば。
With a cruel-hearted, loud laugh, the Black Witch made her tear out Maria Onechan's magics one after another. She sneered at those happy magics, ripped them out, and threw them away.
やめろ！やめろ！マリア教の魔法を怪我すな！汚い毒素で！
Mammon cried and yelled, but she had no way of reaching Kasumi.
いいじゃない。怪我されちゃえば。魔法の奇跡？ 幸せにする魔法？ないない、そんなのないってば。痛みと苦しみはね、他人に押し付けてしか癒せないのよ。あんたは確か魔法のお友達とかいうやつだったわよね。スマデラかすみ、こいつのページを開きなさい。
これは何？魔法のお友達ですって？煉獄の七姉妹？物騒な名前。すごい速さで飛んで敵をやっつけてくれるんですって。エンジェ、あなたこんな魔法が使えるなら今すぐ使った方がいいんじゃない？
You know what? Maybe she will.
くだらない。
The pages that wrote of the seven sisters of purgatory were also heartlessly torn away. The pages themselves were just paper. They weren't Memmon's vessel or anything. But the tearing, denying toxin burned Memon from inside. Memmon's face twisted from the heat and pain.
大丈夫、マモン。しっかり。これくらい平気。私よりエンジェ様の方が。
However, Memmon's expression was twisted in unbearable pain and humiliation.
やめろ、黒き魔女。どうして君はそんなことをするんだよ。どうして魔法を幸せのために使えないんだよ。ああ、あんたも魔法のお友達ね。あんたも怪我してあげるわ。スマデラかすみ、こいつのページも。
こっちは何？何この下手くそなライオンの落書き。作太郎？変な名前。一番大好きなお友達だって。そうなの？これがあんたの友達？親友？このライオンが？ねえねえ。本当に下手くそな落書き。こんなブサイクなライオンがあんたなのね。こんなのお友達にしてるなんて、後ろ宮マリアってこの頭のかわいそうさに呆れてへそでお茶が沸いちゃう。ばっか見た。へそ噛んで死んじゃえば。ウリュ
No.
マリアをバカにするな。やめて、破かないで。ダメ。
There was a shrill, tearing sound, and the page was filthily ripped out. The picture of Sakataro that One-chan had drawn was violently ripped in half.
Oh fuck.
Well,
たくそな
お前たちも笑いなさい。
obeying the pair, the black suits left crudely, and heartlessly trampled all over the paper that had been torn and thrown away.
サクタラ、しっかり。僕は悲しくなんかないよ。ただ悔しい。マリアのことをバカにされて何も言えない自分が悔しい。私たちは見えない人間には私たちは必要としてくれる人間としか交流できないから。家具。
As Sakataro and Memon supported each other, they slumped down, sobbing. I couldn't stand it either. Only those who can see the world of magic can understand how wonderful it is. It can't be explained to humans who can't understand, and so it is mocked. If only you could show it, but you can't. Because in front of humans who are filled with the anti-magic toxin, who can't understand magic, magic cannot be seen. So, I'm assuming the anti-magic toxin, if we're equating magic with love, is people who are unable to love other people and are therefore unable to love themselves.
Yes, I bet you anything you're right.
That's definitely the vibe I'm getting right now.
Me too.
本当にわけがわかんないわ。この妄想日記、頭がおかしいとしか思えない。あんたのお花畑の頭の中が垣間見えて本当に面白いわ。気持ち悪い子。
あんたもマリアもそこのぬいぐるみと家具もね。
おかしいわ。あんた友達いないんでしょ。いっつも一人ぼっちでぬいぐるみがお友達なんでしょ。かわいそうな子。大丈夫、私にそういう生活わかるの。だから私が認めてあげるわ。あんた本当にかわいそうな子よ。
So, to you, she looks like a pitiful child. Yes, I'm sure she does. If 100 people were to read One-chan's diary and grimoire, all 100 would probably get that same impression. I used to be one of them. But you know, in spite of all that, Maria One-chan, she still called this a world of happiness. Don't deny that magic, that happiness.
頑固な子ね、あんたは。いいわ。これで最後よ。あんたとマリアの信じた本当にくだらない魔法の根源を。スマデラかすみ、そのページを読みなさい。
なに？このカラフルなページは。なになに？大好きなママといつまでも仲良しでいられる魔法。
やめて！そのページだけは！
へえ、この魔法すんごく簡単じゃない？私でもすぐできそうだわ。こんなに短い呪文なら私にだって覚えられちゃう。やってみようかしら。
What is it?
I think we're about to find out.
本当に簡単な呪文よね。いいわよ。やってあげなさい。みんなも吹き出しちゃうから。
With expressions that ridiculed it from the bottoms of their hearts, the Black Witch and Kasumi puckered their lips in the most exaggerated way they could, and said it out loud. Oh
Fuck.
boy. Oh no! What? Wait, ooh is an incantation for Maria to try to get Rosa to love her?
Bruh.
Holy shit.
Bruh.
Oh, no. No. Oh, that is... All the times that she would say it when she was being hit. Oh.
Bruh.
Bruh. Damn. Okay, The black suit stared blankly, asking what that was supposed to be. Then Kasumi answered, cackling.
これがね、呪文なんだって。おかしい。
Fuck.
ってみれば。
The black suits imitated that moaning voice, making fun of it.
Oh my god.
Ooh. That was the incantation for the magic that would let her always be friends with the mama she loved.
何このバカみたいなの。
That was in that same text as earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that very kind of meta narrator text.
言うだけで家族仲が良くなるなら世界はずっと平和だわ。バカなうなり声。
こんなの連呼してたら頭のかわいそうなこと思われるのがオチよ。
バカじゃない。
やめろ。その魔法だけはけなさないで。
One day, when Maria One-chan and Aunt Rosa had gone on a picnic together, it was written that this was one of the 5 happiest days of her life. And One-chan was singing her mama a song that she had just learned from her. One-chan was happy to see that her mama was enjoying it very much, but partway through she forgot the lyrics. But her mama was enjoying it so much, so she tried to sing until the very end, with ooh ooh ooh. She sung it with fake lyrics, but her mama was very pleased. After that, ooh remained as an incantation to remember that day she had spent in fun and happiness with her mama. Of course, even though Aunt Rosa thought it funny at first, eventually she tired of hearing it, and later on started to scold One-chan whenever she said it. But to One-chan, it was a memory of a fun day that she could never forget. So among the magics that Maria created, it was the oldest and the first. Kasumi stuck her fingernails into that page too.
やめて、破かないで。そのページだけは許して。
ダメ。
With a shrill sound, a girl's world of happiness was erased.
これがあんたらの幸せな魔法なわけ。笑っちゃう笑っちゃう。幸せになる魔法なんてね、あるわけないでしょ。魔法はね、怒りとね、憎しみでできてるのよ。幸せってのはね、自分の背負わされた憎悪を人に全て押し付けた時にのみ与えられる解放。あんたたちの言う幸せなんて絵本の中にしか出てこないまやかしなのよ。
Somebody's incanting the magic for cutting onions.
Yeah, seriously. Jeez. This is a lot, man. As Kasumi laughed her head off, she slammed the grimoire against the ground and stepped on it.
悔しい？ねえ、悔しい？幸せの白き魔女さんたち、そんなに悔しかったら見せてみれば？あんたたちの魔法あるなら使ってみせればいいじゃない。魔法が使えない魔女なんて魔女じゃない。つまり本当の魔女は私たち。あんたたちなんて魔法の夢で現実から逃避しているだけの。
違うよ。
じゃあ魔法を私が見せることができたならお姉ちゃん信じてくれるの？
信じるわよ。魔法を使って見せることができたならね。ならやってみろよ、このクソボケガキ。
She says she knows the truth of magic. That's what she said at the very beginning of the chapter. She's like, I know the truth about magic now.
Right. Is she gonna try to forgive Ava? Silently, slowly, I stood up. The sensations of this small world, such as the pain in my body, felt truly insignificant.
あら、まだ立てる元気はあったのね、大魔女さん。
Oh, you're approaching me?
立ち上がって何をしてみせるの？見せてみなさいよ、魔法。
魔法はあるわ。
はあ？この子何を言い出すかと思えば、あんたたち今
静かに。へえ、面白いじゃない。半魔法の毒素を理由にあんたたちはいつも奇跡の力を拒んできた白き魔女マリアの弟子。見せてみなさいよ、魔法を。一体どれだけの人間がその奇跡を信じて裏切られていったか知っている？誰もが信じ、誰もが裏切られて絶望した。そして本当の魔法は私たち黒き魔女の力でしか得られないことを知るのよ。
憎しみを誰かにぶつけるのはただの罪。そんなのは魔法じゃないわ。本当の魔法を私が見せてやる。
The Black Witch winced slightly. However, Kasumi sneered at me even more.
なら見せてごらんなさいよ。それであんたはどの魔法を見せてくれるの？飴玉を降らせる魔法？それともクッキーを増やす魔法？
The instant I opened my eyes, a tremendous wind arose.
何？突然。
What?
さあさあおいでなさい。煉獄の
She's
七つ
summoning them. There was a flash behind me, and in an instant, 7 high-level furniture were gathered there.
But Cosme's not going to be able to see them, right? Because remember the scene in the classroom?
Right,
They can't actually do anything.
but I mean, they weren't summoned in the classroom, right? They were just talking to her through her, like, magic abilities.
Well, she did tell them to attack, and they said they couldn't.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know, maybe something's gonna happen or something will change. It was a power that far surpassed the magical power I'd had in my prime. It was a power that matched even Mario and Achan and Beta Beach.
煉獄の七姉妹、ここに。
エンジ様。
あなたはかつて言ったわ。私に魔力とその覚悟がないからあなたたちを刺激できなかったのだと。私をいじめるクラスメートに仕返しがしたいなんて、そんな
I
安
see.
っぽい感情じゃない。私はマリアお姉ちゃんのマリアージュ・ソルシエールの世界を守るため、今こそ魔法の奇跡を見せることを命令するわ。
Oh.
So, I noticed that the chessboard, this episode, or last episode, I guess, they were talking about black and white.
Yes.
You know, there are black spots and there are white spots. So now we're seeing black witches and white witches, of
Yes.
which Angie and Maria are white witches.
Yes.
So does that directly translate to the chessboard then?
You are so good at picking up on things that I miss. Jeez. I did not think of that.
Right? Like that has to be intentional.
Yep, it's definitely intentional.
So does that mean Maria has been on the quote-unquote good side this entire time?
I think so. I would believe so.
Interesting.
無理です。いくらなんでもこれだけ大勢の毒素の前では。
The Seven Sisters also remembered what had once happened in that classroom. If they could have obeyed Angie's order, they would have. However, surrounded by the toxin that runs thick in humans, they hadn't been able to display the miracle of magic. And they remembered very well how deeply that had hurt Angie. But Angie spoke very
な
quietly.
らあなたたちも信じて。マリアージュ・ソルシエールは 人を幸せにするために生まれた。そしてそれは黒き魔女と戦うためでもあった。その創立者の一人、原初の魔女マリア教が生み出した世界を否定する愚かなる黒き魔女に。
The Witch of Origins. Did we know that or hear that before?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay.
その奇跡を見せ、その世界を守るために信じて、魔法を、魔女を、今こそ奇跡を。
Kasumi gave an order to the black suits, and one of them took out a gun and pointed
Oh,
it
fuck.
at Angie.
魔法を見せてくれるんでしょ。なら見せてちょうだい。魔法で火の玉でも稲妻でも打ち出して、チャンスは一度3つ数えるうちにやってお見せなさい。できなければ覚悟してもらうわよ。
打ちなさいよ。
なんだこのガキ。行かれてやがるぜ。
The black suit pointing the gun laughed at Angie's composure.
本気？こいつ頭の中までお花が咲いてやがる。
Cloud
なら撃たれ
Cuckoo
なさいよ。
Apparently.
死んじゃえば。エンジ無理。中断は魔法では防げないよ。
いいえ、何も恐れることはないわ。私の魔法は、煉獄の七姉妹は。
エンジ様。
Mammon was flustered by Angie's absolute trust. She would have loved to live up to that trust if only she could. On that day as well. But she had been unable to do anything, and she had hurt Angie.
ガキめ、魔法が使えるってんなら早く見せてみやがるってんだ。どうしたよ。早く魔法を見せてみろってんだ。ほら、遠慮はいらねえぜ。
Hora!
俺にバビョーンと
Shazao.
魔法ってやつをお見舞いしてくれよ。
What?
The black suits jeered at her, but Angie simply concentrated her mind in silence.
撃っちゃえば。撃ってみろって言ってるのよ、向こうは。
この子恐怖でもう頭がどうかしてるんだ。
バイバイ。エンジェちゃん。
天国で好きなだけ魔女ごっこをしてなさい。撃て。
いいんですか。
おうち死ね。エンジェ。
やれるもんならやってみなさいよ、あんたの魔法を。
The black suit cocked the gun, and sneering, he pulled the trigger. A gunshot rang out, and the world stopped. A red spray scattered and chunks of flesh flew.
何をしてるのマモン。銃弾ごとき無粋な石ころをエンジェ様に許すつもり？
Lucifer had lined up the bullet perfectly, and with a single swing had sliced it in two. And in the chest of the black suit who had apparently fired the gun, there was a hole as big as a fist.
Huh?
たまには私が一番乗りでもいいわよね。
Half of Leviathan's body was covered with blood, and she wore a cold smile. Then, slowly, the pitiful prey that she had brought down fell over.
貫いた人間を。
バカね。まだあんた信じてないの？私たちの主の魔力。
これだけの人間の前で権限したっていうの？
何よ。
Kasumi and the rest were thrown into confusion. He certainly seemed to have fired the gun. However, it hadn't hit Angie. And why was the person who fired instead?
これが魔法。見事よ、レビアタン。
光栄の至り。我らが主に逆らう愚かなる人間ども、今こそ冷やせ審判の時。
Holy fuck.
して
This is intense.
人間の世界に魔法は持ち込めないはずなのに、魔法は見えないはずなのに、触れられないはずなのに、どうして？
これが本当の魔法だからよ。
何をしてるのよお前たち。殺せ殺せ。
One of the black suits who had finally come to his senses pulled his gun, aimed.
我らが主に銃口を覗かせる無礼を死ね。
Those words were his funeral. The man had already been struck through the chest by a smooth criminal, by Lucifer, who had become the stake of pride in an instant. Thump! The sound of the second person falling brought it home to the black suits that their lives were unmistakably in peril. Almost paralyzed with fright, the man turned on his heels in an attempt to escape from that place. And in that instant, the stake of sloth.
我が主への狼藉に対する報い。これ式で済んだことに感謝
Oh,
せよ。
you know what? It is interesting. There are 7 total guards. And
Hold on a
7
second. Hold on a second. I just thought of something.
What?
So, the reason... whatever she's doing here to kill these guards is what the killer on Umineko did. On the island. That was masked with magic. We are seeing... This is exactly how the killer used magic to kill people. I don't know what's going on here. Obviously magic doesn't exist, but she's doing something that the killer did.
Yeah. But what is it, though?
And the killer... Angie found out the truth about magic, and that's why she's able to do this. But the killer on the island must have known whatever his or her truth on the island was, whoever the killer is. Whoever was Beatrice. Angie must know that same truth. Yes.
As her.
Angie, so that must... I think we might be able to assume that if this is exactly how magic per se killed the people on the island 6 years, or what, it's 12 years ago, because we're 1998, 1986, then Angie must know the truth about what happened on the island.
Yeah.
If she's able to kill, like, the person that posed as Beatrice did. That's my hypothesis.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I like that. I think if we just knew what is being covered, like the method of killing in real life that isn't magic, you know?
Yes. Agreed. Ah, fuck.
A hole as big as a walnut opened in his right eye and his head split. Belphegor was sprayed with blood and her face twisted demonically with the joy of being able to use her full power. The black suits panicked, pointing their guns in every direction. But they didn't understand what was happening. They only knew that something terrifying was coming for them from somewhere. But they didn't know where.
敵はあんたたちのすぐ目の前にいるわ。魔女の家具があんたたちを狙ってる。
But they could not see. Because they couldn't believe in magic, they could not see. That love cannot be seen. Just as the Black Witch said, Satan was standing boldly right in front of the Black Suit. However, the Black Suit couldn't see that at all.
人間に私たちの姿が捉えられると間抜けな人間が魔法に対する畏怖を忘れたる。愚かの代償を払うがいい。
何よこれ。何が起こってるの。
あなたには見えない愛
Get
がないから。
fucked. Yo!
Get wrecked.
Yo!
Get
Because
absolutely
you have no love.
F's in the chat for Kasumu-san.
ありえない。これだけの人間がいて半魔法の毒素をばらまいてるってのに、どうして魔法が権限できるの？あんた
The
何者
killer,
なの？
The killer on the island is killing from the power of love. Love is leading the killer on the island to kill. That's what I'm thinking.
But I mean, whose love? Kinza's love for Beiterichi?
It has to do with the sin.
So, but we still don't know what the sin is.
If the sin was something that happened between Battler and the person posing as Beiterichi, which we're thinking it might, because Beiterichi never directly denied that. All she said was not between Battler and Beiterichi, but she said the sin caught... Beiterichi did not exist until Battler committed the sin. So whatever the sin was, caused this person to spawn an alter ego, Beiterichi.
Right.
And that ended up... That person ended up killing, or... probably killing, because they said Battler didn't directly kill all the people on the island.
But he contributed in some way to that happening.
So his sin led to this person committing all these murders.
Right.
And if love, without truth, without love, the truth cannot be seen. And this person is killing because of the truth, which is love. Then maybe the sin has to do with love.
But I mean, we know nothing about Battler's past. You know? We know nothing about what that love could be, or what the love even entails in terms of, is it romantic? I mean, it's probably not romantic at this point, right?
I don't know. Somebody posted in the comments of the last video asking, do we know anything about Battler 6 years back? And marked the timestamp when we said we didn't think we knew anything. Mm-hmm. So maybe there was something we missed.
It must be. We gotta be missing something.
I'm going back through seeing any... I'm gonna go back through and check out all the flashbacks.
Okay.
At some point before the theory video and see if I can find anything.
Right.
But this has to do with love. It must. Mm. The amount of times I keep saying, without love, the truth cannot be seen.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
あんたと違って本物の
As though announcing his candidacy for the fourth victim, one of the black suits pointed his gun at Angie. And pulled the... Angie glared at him coldly and simply ordered.
次サタン
組んでるサタンすでにここにならばが今のエンジ様と私たちに銃弾ごときが当たると思う
The stake of wrath pierced and smashed the bullet fired by the black suit, and continued straight on towards the man's face.
己が愚かせをし地獄で後悔せよ死ね
With a terrible explosive sound, the upper half of the man's head was smashed. Bathed in scattered flesh and blood, Angie quietly asked one more time.
ねえかすみおばさんまだ魔法信じる気にならないの
バカなことあるわけないでしょ認めないわ魔法なんてあるわけがないそうよ魔法なんてあるわけがない魔女なんているわけがない
魔法はあるよ魔女はいるようりゅーそうよ魔法はあるのよ魔女はいるのよそしてこの怒りと悲しみで満ちた世界幸せの世界への扉を開くあんたなんかにそれを否定させない 幸せな世界への鍵はみんなの手に握られてるんだ。それを奪う資格は誰にもないんだ。
それを理解できぬ哀れな人間よ。そなたの人生に魔法の力があったなら、そなたがその生涯において本当の魔女と出会えなかったことを私は
Jeez.
Kasumi let out a piercing scream. At the same time, the two remaining black suits came for me at once, and thrusted their guns against my head, like they were trying to use me as a hostage against something their eyes couldn't even see. Against the Seven Sisters of Purgatory, high-level furniture who had now reached the level of weapons, this was completely and totally pointless.
畜生、どこにいやがるんだ。攻撃をやめねえとこの浜の命はねえぞ。姿を現しやがっ。
何言ってんのこいつ。美味しそうな腹渡をしてるくせに。園児様、次は私にお任せを。
許す。殺せ。
ありがたき幸せ。死ね
The man's chest split and his guts poured out. His guts poured out of his chest? That's not good.
Jeez.
This terrible way of dying threw the other man into a total panic. However, Asmodeus's form was already at his back, embracing his neck with her arm and smiling obscenely.
かわいいか。ねえねえ、どこを貫いてほしい？
Nice.
園児様、ご希望はございますか？
頭。
かしこまりました。我が主、死ね！
The final black suit had his head smashed by the stake of lust, and as his inside scattered, he twisted and fell. In that gruesome world where 6 people lay in a sea of blood, witch and human confronted each other.
スマデラかすみ、そなたの哀れなる人生に私は心の底より同情する。その埋めえぬ心の穴を塞げる魔法を授けてもよい。そなたがその魔法を信じるなら。
バカなこと言わないで。こんなの私は認め
Accept
ない。
it.
Kinda don't really have a choice, girl.
Don't kill her.
As Kasumi slowly retreated backwards, scared out of her wits, she
Oh.
picked up a handgun that someone had dropped.
Now
Then
she's gonna
she
have to kill her.
pointed it at Angie.
そうよかすみ、その銃で撃ちなさい。あんたの憎しみを銃弾に変えて放ちなさい。殺してやる。殺してやる。あんたを殺さなきゃ私の人生は報われないのよ。そうよ、殺して。引き金を引いて。あいつにあんたのみすぼらしい今日までの全ての怒りを、悲しみ全部叩きつけてやるの。そうでなきゃあんたは痛みと苦しみから解放されないのよ。
やめて、かすみおばさん。黒き魔女に耳を貸してはダメ。
殺してやる。殺してやる。あんたの母親のせいで私の人生はめちゃくちゃ。
なら私の魔法でその人生をこれから少しずつ明るく穏やかなものにもできるかもしれない。あなたが魔法を信じ心を入れ替えさえすれば、あなたに新しい世界への扉を開いてあげられるの。
Please.
そんなものはないわ。あいつの言う救いなんてどうせおとぎ話の中だけよ。あんたの人生はもはや死ぬまでトゲまみれ。その苦痛の叫びをあいつに聞かせてやりなさい。
Maybe.
失ったものは何も取り返せないのよ。そうでしょ、スマデラカスミ。
そうね、何も取り返せないかもしれない。でもきっと新しく何かを生み出すことができたから、かすみおばさん、その銃を捨ててかすみおばさんには幸せな世界を教えてあげられるかもしれない。
Turn over the gun. Turn over the gun. Turn over the gun.
It's not gonna happen.
私はね、 あんたの母親が逃げたせいであんたの母親の許嫁と身代わりに結婚させられたのよ。将来を誓い合った男がいたのよ。別れさせられたのよ。あんたの母親の代わりと継がされて、話もろくにしたことがない男とちぎりを交わさせられた私の気持ちが分かるっての。殺してやりたかった。なのに姉さんは勝手に死んだ。だからあんたを殺すの。そうでなきゃ私のトゲまみれの人生は終わらないのよ。
From Kasumi's eyes, frenzied tears dripped down. This poor woman. Even she had such clear and beautiful tears. But for that reason, she hadn't been able to withstand her sad pain, and had had no choice but to listen to the Black Witch's temptation.
かわいそうに。
Oh.
ならばせめてあなたの魂を永遠に解放し、塩素の鎖から解き放ってあげるわ。それが今の私にできる唯一の施しかもしれない。
死ねー、後ろ宮エンジェー。
さようなら、かすみおばさん。静かな世界でゆっくりと休んで。
I no longer feel any anger or hatred towards you. I just want to let your soul rest in peace. Kasumi's handgun spat fire. Slowly, that bullet continued through a world frozen to the utmost limit, making its way towards Angie's forehead.
マモン、
強欲のマモン、ここに。
ありがとう。あなたたちと作太郎に出会えたから、私は全てを理解できた。
エンジェ。
作太郎は後ろを向いていなさい。
Is she gonna let the bullet hit her?
マモン、
Or
その
not?
女を解放してあげて。
Yeah.
そしてマリアージュ・ソルシエールの名誉を守れ。
はい、覚悟せよスマデラかすみ。
Even though the world was frozen, the stake of greed flashed like lightning, and was already through Kazumi and out the other
貴
side.
様に多少の得があるならば、再び煉獄の山で相まみえようぞ。死ねー。
The upper half of Sumadera Kasumi's head shattered.
F.
Her cage of flesh was... Her cage of flesh.
Hmm?
Her cage of flesh.
Cage of flesh?
All the talk about being a bird in a cage.
Oh
Didn't
shit.
Bei Tadichi mention that her flesh was a cage too?
Yes.
I don't know why. I don't know what connection Kasumi would have to that, but
Well, to think about the cage as something containing your soul.
right.
The cage of flesh is just a cage for his soul. So,
But that's whether souls actually exist, along with magic.
that's true.
あとはあんたね、黒き魔女。今となってはあなたにエヴァおばさんの面影を見ていることさえ。
私の姿が未だに後ろ宮エヴァに見えて、それはあんたの中で未だに私が許せてないということだわ。
Haven't been able to forgive me inside yourself. So does that mean that everyone... This must go directly with what we're thinking about with the real person behind... People, like, posit their family members as the face of these people who are killing and tormenting them,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
If going by this logic. So what is... who is putting Beatarichi's face on the killer? And who hasn't been able to forgive Beatarichi that she would be the one to have the face of the killer?
Well,
You know?
huh. I don't know.
分かっているのよ、エンジェ。あんただってトゲまみれの人生から解放されたくて仕方がないの。なら面白いことを思いついたわ。私もあんたに魔法を見せてあげる。あんたを殺すのは私じゃないわ。
With the worst smile on her face, the Black Witch changed her form into something like a black mist, or else a vast swarm of black flying insects which began swirling around me.
Oh no, what now?
Then that black mist began to amass bit by bit, shaping itself into the form of a
何の
human.
真似？
Oh.
うすうすは想像がついてるくせに、あんたが最も憎み恨んだそして女もあなたを最も恨み。
Ava. When the black mist cleared, over there was Aunt Ava's form as she had been while alive. In her hands, she was holding a gun.
エヴァおばさんは死んだわよ。
お久しぶりね、エンジェ。あんたを殺すために地獄から戻ってきたわよ。
What? Oh, this is the longest chapter ever. It just keeps going.
It does.
Aunt Ava glared at me, laughing
で
madly.
もあまり驚かないわ。エヴァおばさんそういう人だったし。
私のお葬式はさぞや気分、私も晴れ晴れしていたわよ。あんたの面を二度と見なくて済むようになる。でもたった一つだけ心残りがあったわ。それがこれよ。
私をそれが最後の遺言だったの。
How pitiful. Even after death. Aunt Ava wasn't released from her suffering.
黒き魔女の力こそが私の魔法の源泉だったわ。怒りと憎しみが私に努力と不屈を教えてくれた。それはあんたの言う現実逃避の魔法とは全く違うの。
あんたの言う魔法なんてただの八つ当たりによるストレス解消だわ。私たちの魔法は違う。世界そのものを作り変えるの。あんたの性悪魔法とは全く格が違う。
なら黒と白のどちらが勝つかこの場で決着をつけてあげる。死してなお黒き魔法で復活してあんたをこうして重厚で狙える私の奇跡。あんたの白き魔法は
Oh,
半魔法の毒素であなたを取り込んだわ。七姉妹はもう二度と呼べないわよ。さっきの奇跡はもう起こらない。
それでも起こるから魔法って言うんだわ。いいわよマモン、私に力を貸して。
But Mammon didn't respond. She didn't appear. Certainly, as she said, the anti-magic toxin had burned everything up like a wasteland parched by a blazing sun. So magic is love and anti-magic is hate? Is that basically what we're saying here?
Mm-hmm.
This might be a little tough.
呼びかけても無駄よ。もう二度と煉獄の七姉妹は答えない。
だからそれでも呼べるから魔法なのよね。
哀れね、エンジェ。さようなら。あんたとのささやかな日々はこれでお別れよ。よかったわね。あんたの終着駅がここ
ええ、まったくよ。気が利くわね。
で。ありがとう。それじゃ。
The barrel of the gun rose slowly so that you could see all the way down it, and the trigger was slowly. Then, there was a loud bang from the gun. Not in the sense that it fired, it exploded. You're kidding me. In shock, inside frozen space, Ava looked at the exploded gun. When time unfroze, the fragments would probably smash into her face all at once.
強欲のマモン、ここに。バカ。
Behind Ava's back, Mammon stood. She had already penetrated the target I had given her, which was the gun.
これで魔法は十分、エヴァおばさん。
Then, time unfroze. Fragments of the ruptured gun and gunpowder gas burned her face. Letting out a shrill scream, she rolled around, covering her face. It was pitiful.
運がなかったわね。これでゲームオーバーよ、エヴァおばさん。
I signaled to Mammon to free Ava quickly from her pain as she writhed around with her burnt face.
ありがとう、マモン。あの日の教室で、あなたたちの無力を罵ったことを、今こそ心の底より、そして再び謝るわ。あなたたちは魔女を守るための優秀な家具だった。
こちらこそ感謝します。良き魔女に、良き主に最後に出会え、家具の本分を尽くせたことを心より光栄に思います。
Mammon understood. This would be the final job I would ever give her. Mammon quietly walked close. Then she looked down upon her.
エヴァおばさん、今日まで付き合ってくれてありがとう。これでお別れよ。Have a nice dream. See you hell.
What?
What?
She just said cool. Then, the light sound of her forehead being perforated rang out. Ooh, good word. The battle of gunpowder, smoke, delirium, and white and black magic was over. It felt like it had been a long, truly long journey, and the world slowly sank into darkness. Is that the end of the chapter, or is it still going?
This is the last scene of the chapter, probably.
Oh my god, alright. Here we go. The stars that should be sparkling lay not in the sky, but were scattered beneath me. When I recognized that the pearls and rubies were creating a river of white and red, I realized that it was a vast nighttime scene that was spread out below me. I was in the sky of that nighttime scene, neither standing nor flying, but simply floating in the air. From nowhere in particular, I could hear the sound of one person clapping, a truly dull applause. I understood. It was the one who ordered me to go on this journey, Baron Castell.
おめでとう、無限の魔女エンジェ・ベアトリーチェ。あなたは旅路の末に魔法のすべてを理解したわ。ええ、私は今や魔法のすべてを。私は魔女よ。マリアージュ・ソルシエルが生み出した魔法世界を継承した最後の魔女。あなたにしかベアトリーチェの世界を切り裂けない。魔法を知るからこそそれに抵抗も覚えるわ。魔法は愛と悲しみと怒りでできている。ベアトリーチェがどんなに残酷な魔女であったとしても、その魔法の源泉は全く同じ。だからこそ彼女のその世界を本当はそっとしてあげたい。少なくとも彼女にとってその世界は完成しているのだから。
Love and anger and sadness. This is super out there, but what if this person pretending to be Beatadichi is actually Kinzo's wife.
Kinzo's wife?
Yeah,
Which one?
I mean, his first wife.
His first wife, Adabe Ichirichi?
Yeah, the one who got cheated on with Beatadichi. I mean, she would have enough motives for at least killing Kinzo, but maybe not the rest of the family.
I think they said she died.
But what if she didn't actually die?
I mean, maybe. But it could be. What if it's Beatarichi herself?
Except, well, I mean, yeah, there is that. Because she would also, like, if she was spurned, or, you know, I don't know, but we'll see.
家族を諦められるならね。
そうだから申し訳ないけれど、私は戦わなければ家族を取り戻せるかもしれない、わずかの確率魔女となる旅に出たのだから。
ベアトリーチェを殺さない限り、あなたには孤独な世界しか存在しん。それを100億のかけらを旅した私が保証
Another
する。
question is, how would a battler committed a sin against Kinzo's wife
Right.
6 years back?
Unless, yeah, I don't know. You know, it would be interesting. They had that whole thing talking about him not being Battler, you know, during the test. I wonder if he's somehow Kinzo and Beatadichi's son. Not Rudolph and Asamu's son, or however you say her name.
Well, the battler, the actual battler, was born of Asuma.
Right. But maybe this battler...
Peace battler? Or the peace battler?
Well, player battler is the one who
Player
isn't,
battler.
right?
Yeah, player battler is not. You're right.
So what if he was somehow... But then that wouldn't be his sin.
No,
I don't know.
分かってるわ。同情してる余地なんて心を鬼にして彼女の心を。
その気持ちが揺るぎないならよかったわ。同じ魔女同士情が移って志をくじくんじゃないかと心配した。
Coming from a person like her, whose face was almost always expressionless, those words felt a bit hollow. Baron Castell, the enigmatic witch who invited me on this journey.
私、あなたが嘘をついてたんじゃないかと。
どうして？
私は1998年の演者だから、家族を救ってもこの私が救われるわけじゃない。だから騙されていると思っていたことがあるの。
その通りよ。私はあなたを
でも今は感謝してる。だってあなたは私に家族の取り戻し方を。
私は何も教えてないわ。それを知ったのだとしたら、それはあなたが魔女として自ら至った境地だ。それは私のそれとは違う境地。私に理解はできないけれど、もしも
私はこのゲームのプレイヤーではなく、あなたは私に言ったわよね。
ええ、言ったわ。
その役割を。駒に感情はいらない。ただ勝利のために最善を尽くせばいい。
ええ、その通りよ。ゲームは最善手を差し合うものでしょう。躊躇や戸惑いで指し手をおかしくしてたら対戦相手も混乱するわ。
Sorry, Beatadichi, but don't hold it against me. Ushiromiya Angie still needs her family, so I have the right to fight you so that I can take them back. And you have the responsibility to accept my challenge. So please, don't hold it against me. In exchange, if you do win in this game, I'll give you my blessing as well. Now, let's go. As the piece I am, it's finally time for my truth turn. Sorry, Beatrice. I can't hand Oni-chan over to you.
And I think that's the end of the chapter.
Okay.
I think.
With the world whitening.
Wait, that's definitely the end of the chapter. It just didn't do a chapter switch.
Okay.
I'll just cut it here for the end of the chapter.
Yeah, that's fine.